Hello again. I would like to try to go over a more complex issue with spike solutions to help you understand why the calculations are happening the way they are and why we need to cancel results if we're not happy with the results. Okay, so I've loaded up the results into results review as I've shown before. And in this case, we're looking at SCC, squamous cell carcinoma antigen, and it had a base value of 1, or less than 1, so we're going to consider it 1. And so this is what happened. The sequence in which they were run is the original samples were run, and then there was a factor sum associated with that. But there were some additional samples done after that fact, so this number is not going to be correct. But so what happened was with these two values, the original factor summary for the result would have been 25,000 because these were out of range. A 0 is not considered a good value for a spike solution, so the system only uses the good values, and so the factor sum, since the conversion factor is 1, the factor summary should have been 225,000. Okay. Subsequently, they did some additional samples. They sampled the dilution C one more time, and they did the dilution D one more time. And then this is what's associated with that result. Again, I'll show you on Excel to kind of show you what happened here. So I talked about how these all get calculated, so you should be familiar with that. But what happened here is when it came to these highlighted samples, the system went across and multiplied across these samples, getting us to the value of 185,000 for the spike solution concentration. At this point, all of these results were approved. Actually, these results, the original dilution values, were approved much earlier. But ultimately, this sample here was approved and locked in at 185,000. Then subsequently, these additional samples were taken across all 3 samples, including the factor summary. So in this case, this didn't necessarily have to be done since no samples were canceled. And so what happened at this point is this factor summary doesn't only include these 2 samples. This factor summary is looking across all the samples on the product itself that match the dilution for this particular test. And so what happens is this dilution here, or this summary, will look across all the dilutions and average them all together. Of course, not using the 0. And so that's why we get a value of 183,660. Looks like I've got a little bit of a rounding error somewhere in my math going to Excel, but it's pretty close. But that's what happens. That's what the system does. It runs across the whole product, across all the samples in the product, looking for this SSC arc DIL, and pulls all of them together. And so that is why if you decided this original sample was not a good dilution, needs to be canceled, so it's not included in the summary calculation. And this is an example of the error you get when you have too many dilutions. If it's not equal to 2, it's going to give you this error. which is unfortunate because you kind of want to know how all of these line up. So I'll work on trying to fix that. But I hope that explains why the calculations work the way they do. And then, like I said, once you approve the calculated value, that calculated value then does not recalculate. If that happened, I suppose that's why they resampled this, so it would recalculate across everything, and they used all the values. So I hope that explains it. And again, if you want to negate any of the values from the spike solution dilutions, then they need to be canceled. All right? I hope that helps. I hope that wasn't more confusing than helpful. Thanks a lot. Talk to you later.